It was 1978, and gasoline had just reached $1 a gallon. And I was outraged because I knew there was no way Americans would pay $1 for a gallon of gas. We are far too independent, far too cust-minded to pay $1 for a gallon of gas. So I sold my car and I got an apartment near a bus line and I sat back and I waited for mass transit and alternative energy to really come into their own. "20 years later, I was taking a self-improvement workshop. And part of that self-improvement workshop was you get to do a little one-on-one with the instructor. And while I was telling about how I was a stagehand and different things I did in my life, it came up that I didn't have a car. And why don't you have a car? And we talked about my reasons for not having a car. And it turned out that none of them were really valid anymore. And so, oh boy, I get to get a car again after 20 years. This is great. So I bought a little red car and I named her Rosebud because I wanted to love her. And there was this woman in the class, and she had long red hair, and she was beautiful, maybe 10 years younger than me. I mean, no reason for me to even look at her, let alone imagine anything happening between us. And one day after class, she came up to me and she said, Hi, you're a stagehand, right? Yeah, I am. Well, there's this really great Broadway show coming to town. It's called Fosse. And if you'll take me to that show, I'll wear my green dress. And I'm like, let me make a phone call, you know? I've got friends at that theater. I'll see what I can do. And I called up my friend at the Denver Center, and he said, I can get a couple tickets for you, sure. And it was all set. And I'm going to take her to Fosse, and she's going to wear her green dress. So the day of the show comes, and I get in my red car, and I go to pick her up, and there she is, and it is beautiful. She's wearing this amazing green dress, and the only thing that's sparkling more than the dress is her eyes. And green dress, red car, it was like Christmas. I mean, it was fantastic. It's perfect. We went out for coffee before the show. She was attentive. She laughed at my jokes. She touched my arm. I mean, wow. And after the show, which was also incredible, I was driving her home, and she explained what was going on. See, as part of the class, she had gotten to talk to one of the instructors as well, and her problem had always been that guys would take her out and spend a bunch of money on her, and then they would expect things. Now, as a quick PSA, someone takes you out, spends a bunch of money on you, you do not owe them anything, okay? And if you take someone out and you spend a bunch of money on them, they don't owe you anything either. I absolutely get that. So she was given a homework assignment. And it was to go out with someone and only do what you had agreed to do ahead of time. So she went to the show with me. She wore her green dress. Thanks for the show. Bye. I was crushed. Not so much because I didn't get a hug or anything like that. Because again, I get it. Take someone out, they don't owe you anything. But she hadn't actually been interested in me. I had just been homework.